The mind is a goal-seeking mechanism. Built into every human being is something divine, something scientific, something cybernetic. A system that corrects itself mid-flight. A mechanism that, once given a destination, will course-correct, adjust, and navigate every obstacle to reach it. But the catch is this: it doesn't move based on who you truly are. It moves based on who you believe you are. That's the root of Psycho-Cybernetics. See, long before computers or GPS, Dr. Maxwell Maltz understood that the human mind behaves like a machine. Not cold, not robotic, but responsive, intelligent, and more than anything, programmable. At the center of this system is your self-image. Not the mask you show the world, but the internal picture you hold of yourself in silence. That picture, it steers everything. How you think, how you feel, what you attempt, what you avoid. And if that picture is distorted by pain, failure, or false beliefs, you'll sabotage your own progress just to stay in alignment with it. It's not that you're broken, it's that the image you're living from was built by someone else's hands. But here's the gift: you can change it. That's where visualization comes in. Not fantasy, but mental rehearsal. When you close your eyes and see yourself thriving, see yourself calm, bold, decisive, you're planting new coordinates into your internal GPS. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagined success and real success. It just knows the target. And like a guided missile, it will adjust your actions until the outer matches the inner. And in that process, there's grace. You're not asked to be perfect, you're asked to be present, to accept where you are without judgment, to stop calling yourself broken just because you're healing. This is self-acceptance, not ignoring the flaws, but loving yourself enough to grow beyond them. Forgiveness, that's fuel for the reset. When you hold on to guilt, shame, or anger, you tie yourself to the very patterns you're trying to escape. But when you forgive yourself and others, you interrupt the loop. You rewrite the program. You free your system to aim higher. Then you back it up with action. You take steps in alignment with the new image. Speak with integrity. Move with purpose. Practice gratitude like it's armor. Do something kind even when nobody's watching. Each of those moments becomes a vote for the person you're becoming. And your subconscious keeps score. This is why affirmations work. Not because the words are magic, but because they reinforce the direction. I am capable. I am guided. I am worthy. With repetition, those seeds grow. And when life knocks you off course, as it always does, that internal system, the one you've been feeding, kicks in, and it brings you back. That's the beauty of being cybernetic. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to program it right. And when you do, life starts to bend. Slowly, quietly, powerfully. Because the moment you change how you see yourself, everything else follows. You ever notice how the way you see yourself changes everything? Not just what you do, but how you carry it, how you show up, how you breathe, walk, speak, and love. That reflection in the mirror, it's not just skin and features. It's a story, a belief, a decision. And most people never update that story. They look in the mirror and see every scar, every flaw, every word somebody else spoke over them that they never questioned. But here's the truth. They're not seeing themselves. They're seeing an old program, a filtered version of the truth. And the longer you operate from that version, the harder it is to rise. Because if you don't believe you're worthy, you'll sabotage the love. If you don't believe you're powerful, you'll shrink in rooms you were built to command. If you don't believe you're enough, you'll keep chasing things that were already yours. Self-image ain't vanity, it's vision. How you see your skin, your smile, your presence, it either elevates you or limits you. And the wild part is, the world treats you based on how you treat yourself. Speak with confidence and they'll lean in. Move with certainty and they'll respect you. but speak like you doubt yourself. And even truth starts to sound like a question. So we shift it, not just by dressing up or flexing confidence, but by doing the inner work, by healing, by choosing new thoughts, by standing in front of the mirror and saying, I am not what they said I was. I'm not what I failed at. I am who I decide to be, starting now. You feed that self-image with habits, with words, with posture. You walk tall not to impress anyone, but to remind yourself, you were built for more. You were chosen for this. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't just see features, you see legacy, you see intention, you see proof that even after everything, you're still here. And that means something. Because from that image comes your energy. And your energy, that's what moves mountains. Some people walk into a room and need attention. Others walk in and shift the atmosphere. That's spiritual confidence. It's not loud, it's not arrogant, it's rooted, grounded. It says, I know who I am, so I don't need to prove it. And when you move like that, people feel it, even if they can't name it. They respect you, or they fear you. But either way, they recognize the weight you carry. That weight, it's not ego, it's awareness. You know your battles, you know your journey, and you've survived things that never made the news but rewired your soul. You built your armor in silence, in the midnight prayers, in the tears no one saw. In the nights you wanted to quit but didn't. That's where confidence is born. Not on stages, but in struggle. And every morning you rise, you put that armor back on. Not made of steel, but of truth. You protect your mind by feeding it clarity. You protect your soul by staying aligned. You protect your peace by letting go of what drains you. And when doubt knocks, you don't crumble. You observe it, you check it, and then you answer it with who you really are. Because your mind is sacred territory. You don't just let any voice in, especially the voice that sounds like you but speaks from fear. You know the difference now. You've trained yourself to recognize the lie and replace it with purpose. That's mental armor. You affirm yourself daily, not because it's trendy, but because your survival depends on it. You don't wait for the world to validate you. You validate yourself with action, with presence, with truth. You know that what's in you is more important than what's around you. So when life throws chaos your way, you don't panic. You realign. You breathe, you adjust, you remember, and you move. Because spiritual confidence isn't about being untouched. It's about being unshaken. The storm may come, but you've already built your foundation on something eternal. And that's why you win. We live in a world that feeds on your attention. Scroll here, tap there, react now, think later. And in the middle of all that noise, you're supposed to find yourself, build yourself, heal yourself. It's not impossible, but it requires something rare. Discipline, not the discipline of grinding until you burn out. I'm talking about spiritual discipline, the kind that pulls you away from distraction and plugs you into alignment. The kind that reminds you that silence is power, not punishment. That stillness is strategy, not stagnation. Because if the enemy can't destroy you, it'll distract you. It'll keep you in a cycle of comparison, insecurity, and false urgency. You'll start measuring your worth by notifications, judging your growth by likes, feeding your mind fast food, then wondering why your spirit feels malnourished. But when you wake up, you unplug. You stop letting the algorithm be your morning devotion. You stop letting culture tell you how to feel. You return to center. That could be meditation, breath work, prayer, writing, stillness, walking outside barefoot and letting the earth remind you that you're real. Spiritual discipline is reclaiming your mind every day. It's setting boundaries, not because you're antisocial, but because you're intentional. It's choosing peace over performance, depth over noise, purpose over popularity. And every time you do it, you build something inside you. Focus sharpens, clarity deepens, your intuition gets louder. You start hearing God, not just your fears. You stop reacting and start responding. People will say you've changed, and they'll be right. Because you're not available to everything anymore. You're not wasting energy trying to be everywhere, know everything, please everyone. You're rooted. And when you live like that, the world adjusts to your pace. The right people find you. The right doors open. The right ideas flow. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned for it. And that's what spiritual discipline does. It tunes your life to a higher frequency, so you no longer chase what was never meant for you. Peace is expensive in a world that thrives on noise. Everywhere you turn, there's a screen, a story, a crisis. You're being pulled, prodded, pressured to react, perform, conform. And the moment you try to slow down, the world calls you lazy. The moment you get quiet, they say you're disconnected. But peace isn't disconnection, it's direction. It's the choice to protect your soul over your schedule. It's the sacred decision to not let the chaos outside create chaos within. Because here's the truth. Everything can't have access to you. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every invitation is an assignment. Not every opinion needs a response. Protecting your peace starts with understanding that you are not a dumping ground for other people's drama. You are not a sponge for every vibration in the room. You are not required to carry what isn't yours. You are allowed to log off. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to go ghost and still be growing. And when you protect your peace, you unlock something greater. Clarity. Clarity of mind, clarity of purpose, clarity of voice. Suddenly, what used to trigger you doesn't even register. What used to drain you gets no access. And what used to distract you now feels like noise you've outgrown. Because peace isn't passive, it's powerful. It takes strength to walk away. Strength to stay calm when the world is loud. Strength to trust your timing when everyone else is rushing. So you light your incense, you pray, you stretch, you journal, you breathe deep. You keep your space clean, you keep your heart guarded. And you remind yourself, peace is not what you find, it's what you build. Every day, through every choice. And when you protect that peace, your whole life starts to shift. You attract different people. You walk with deeper presence. You speak from wholeness, not hurt. You respond from wisdom, not wounds. That's not weakness, that's elevation. And once you taste it, you'll never let the world steal it again. At the end of the day, your life is a mirror of your self-image. Not your circumstances, not your upbringing, not even your mistakes, but the way you see yourself. Because your mind is a goal-seeking mechanism, like a guided missile. And once it's programmed, it'll take you exactly where you told it to go. Even if the path is wrong. Even if it leads to pain. Because the subconscious doesn't argue, it obeys. So if you see yourself as small, your choices will reflect that. If you see yourself as unworthy, your relationships will mirror it. If you believe success isn't for people like you, your mind will make that belief real. Not because it's true, but because you believed it was. That's why Psycho-Cybernetics is so powerful. It reminds you, you are not stuck. You're just steering with an outdated map, a self-image created in moments of fear, rejection, and survival. But survival mode isn't your destiny. You were built to create, not just react. And the beauty is, you can reprogram. You can choose a new story. You can wake up every day and say, this is who I am now. Not what they called me. Not what I failed at. I'm rewriting the code. And your mind will follow. You visualize it, you affirm it, you act on it, even before you feel ready. And little by little, the mirror changes. You stop flinching at your reflection. You stop lowering your voice. You stop shrinking in rooms that can't hold your light. Because now, your self-image is rooted in truth, in vision, in divine design. You're not chasing confidence, you are confidence. You're not performing identity, you're embodying purpose. And every time life knocks you off course, you don't panic. you realign. That's what a cybernetic system does. It adjusts, it recalibrates, it remembers the target, and gets back to it. So no, you won't always be perfect, but you'll always be in motion, always evolving, always becoming. Because once you see yourself clearly, the world has no choice but to follow. And that is how you change your life from the inside out.